What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and today, oh my goodness, the Bungie situation keeps getting worse. So, in case you don't know, yesterday there was a big announcement that a huge round of layoffs and restructuring was happening within Bungie Studios. We went over that official announcement. The video on that is linked right up above. I would recommend checking that out if you haven't seen it, because we're going to be kind of going forward from that point. Because since that announcement, a bunch more supplemental information has come out, and this whole thing is just so crazy. First of all, let's talk about some of the people affected. So, as you can see right here, this person tweeted out, "Well, I'm no longer at Bungie. It's been quite the ride. Being the narrative lead on the final shape was immensely rewarding. I don't know what lies ahead for me, but I'm feeling optimistic and looking forward to a break. Thanks to the Destiny community and all of my colleagues." The narrative lead of the final shape. The final shape was overwhelmingly praised. Its story was overwhelmingly praised. Laying off the person who was in charge of that is insanity. Like, again, this is going into a ton of what's really making this story go viral. Like, a bunch of people within the gaming space who aren't necessarily Destiny 2 players are really getting in on this because the final shape was a success. The final shape was incredibly highly reviewed, and it still results in layoffs, and not just any layoffs, layoffs of, again, like the narrative lead and key members of the people who worked on the final shape. It's just insane. Another really disturbing a tweet was this one right here. Now, this is from Liana Rupert, who was a community manager at Bungie. She was laid off in the first round of layoffs before the final shape. She'll be coming up again, but she's quote tweeting someone saying, "My whole team is gone," saying the player support team was also gutted, as well as some of the folks behind the most beloved narrative moments and sounds. The player support team worked harder than anyone else through weekends, holidays, and the pay was atrocious, only to be tossed out so LY could get their personal buyouts. Step down, Pete. Obviously, Pete referring to Pete Parsons, the Bungie CEO. And speaking of Pete Parsons, oh my goodness, the Bungie CEO got absolutely exposed over the past few days. This guy is just a joke. So, this is the story that really popped off and started to go massively viral, is that, as you can see right here, Bungie CEO Pete Parsons reportedly spent over $2.3 million just on buying classic cars after the Sony acquisition. So this isn't all time, this is just since the Sony acquisition. They continue, this was uncovered the same day he made a statement saying that they laid off 220 employees because the company has been dealing with financial challenges. And to make things even more ridiculous, about $500,000 of that was apparently spent on cars since the last bout of layoffs in October of 2023. Wow. And remember, this is the guy who said they tried everything to avoid these layoffs. Quote, "Even with exhaustive efforts undertaken across our leadership and product teams to resolve our financial challenges, these steps were simply not enough." Meanwhile, this guy is buying car after car after car. In fact, someone actually apparently found, as you can see right here, his account on this auction website where you go to buy these cars. As you can see, BNG P. Parsons. Now, is this actually him? Well, it's been an actual account since October 2018, so if someone faked this, they would have had to fake it years and years and years ago, but we're scrolling through right now. These are his car purchases, and these are only the recent car purchases. Like, this is just insanity. Now, there's a lot of rich CEOs out there, right? I mean, think of Bobby Kotick down at Activision. That guy was paid hundreds of millions of dollars, right? But again, this is just massive hypocrisy after a statement saying we did everything we can. I'm not giving up my Corvette though, but other than that, we did everything we can. Not even giving up your Corvette. I didn't stop buying classic cars for even a month. but we did everything we can, guys. Like we exhausted every possibility to save money. Is that a new Corvette, dude? Oh, like what an absolute joke. And unfortunately, this is actually kind of the tip of the iceberg. In fact, again, Liana Rupert's quote tweets that video I showed you guys of all those cars, and actually says, don't forget the failed studio that they opened up 15 miles away from the current one that they absolutely could not afford and nobody wanted, only to close it down 11 months later with nothing more than an oopsie daisy. And then, actually in the replies, someone says, wait, what? Do you mean a different physical building for the staff they currently had, or a whole new thing? And they said, just a new physical building. The Amsterdam studio was also canned, must have taken away from the penthouse budget. And so this, like, further gets into the absolute waste by Bungie leadership. Like, again, the people affected by these layoffs, the people actually making the game we love, they are not opening new studios. They are not purchasing classic cars. This is the C-suite executives. This is Pete Parsons opening up a new studio 15 miles away just to shut it down. Opening up a studio in Amsterdam just to shut it down. And this gets into why Bungie is in such a precarious situation right now. There has been massive waste at the top. Bungie executives are spending money like it's on fire. Like, this is crazy waste. And you think of how much of that money could have been reinvested into the game, into keeping the people they laid off employed so they could continue to make content for the game we all love, Destiny 2, right? Like, how much money went into opening up a whole new studio 50 miles away just to shut it down in 11 months, right? And it really, again, gets into this whole narrative of waste coming from the top. However, in one of the most interesting reports that has come out involving this whole situation, if you're sitting there thinking, man, this Bungie CEO, Pete Parsons, they need to get rid of this guy, they might have already done that. So, this person, Jeff Grubb, who works for Giant Bomb, so this is a games journalist, he actually tweeted the situation and said, Herman Hulst runs Bungie now. Now, who is Herman Hulst? Well, he's the CEO of the Studio Business Group for Sony Interactive Entertainment. That's right, he is the Sony guy that we kind of heard about. So in the first round of layoffs, when Bungie missed their financial targets, partially due to the disappointment that was Lightfall, it was said that if they do this again, if something bad happens again, Sony has the power to dissolve the current Bungie board of directors and put their own people on it. So this could potentially have triggered that to happen. This second round of layoffs could have actually enacted that process. In fact, Jeff Grubb goes further, saying, also, they attempted to soften the blow by sending many people from Bungie into SCI, Sony Interactive Entertainment, instead of just cutting them. I thought the number of jobs lost was going to be closer to 350. That is true. They said about 150 people are going over to Sony instead of being laid off. Then he says, I'll put it as far as I know, which isn't everything by a long shot. In time, Bungie will lose its autonomy and become like any other PlayStation Worldwide studio under SCI and Herman Hulst. And by in time, I just mean that this is a process that is starting now, but it is happening. And goes on to say, I'll talk more about it in his show, Game Mess Mornings. And so, right now, obviously, there is a huge amount of doom and gloom within the Destiny community, and, like, for good reason. This is not good. As a Destiny YouTuber, I'm terrified, right? Like, this game franchise is unbelievable when it's good. Like, the highs of Destiny 2 is some of the most fun I've ever had in gaming. It's just so sad to see things so mismanaged from that top level. And, again, a lot of people are worried, is this the end? Is this the end for Destiny 2 being absorbed into Sony? Well, maybe. I'm going to end here on a positive note because, just frankly, call it copium. It's probably copium, but there is potentially a positive lining. I saw a comment I can't remember where, but on this whole situation that said, you know what? Herman Hulst taking over, this is a good thing, because it really seems like all of the success of Destiny, when Destiny was at its best, that was all despite of leadership, not with the help of leadership. And again, that really seems to be true. Like Pete Parsons, like everything this guy touches is a disaster in the sense of like opening these new studios that closes. Like this guy is clearly not the reason Destiny was ever good, or is good right now. It seems like Bungie had to make Destiny good despite of this guy. And so having a new leader, having this Herman Hulst guy could actually be a good thing, could actually stop this insane waste, could actually maybe focus Bungie on making Destiny 2 or whatever future Destiny projects come out as good as it can be. I mean, if it becomes an official PlayStation studio, what are the other PlayStation studios? We have Insomniac Games, right? They're making the Spider-Man games hugely positively received. They have Naughty Dog making Uncharted, Last of Us, right? They have Santa Monica Studio, the God of War franchise, right? Like, we have some heavy hitters. We have some studios that are pumping out consistent bangers that are part of PlayStation Studios. So I don't think, replacing leadership and absorbing into the PlayStation portfolio is necessarily the end. Now, the problem is when we talk about exclusives, will we start to see exclusive content back on PlayStation? Maybe. That is potentially a concern, but the potential light at the end of the tunnel is simply that if Pete Parsons is actually gone, that maybe could lead to a bright future for the studio. Guys, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content for as long as it remains, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.